Hello, this is number 4 in my 5-part series about bingeable movies about psychology. My name is Leslie, I'm your resident psychologist, and this is number 4 in my 5-part series about movies that are psychologically or mental health related that I think are cogent. I promise no major spoilers, but I'm kind of dancing in spoiler adjacent territory because I want to be able to talk about what I think these movies got right and why I think they're worth your time. If you want to see number 5, you can back up and check out my profile, but number 4 on the list is Primal Fear. So the reason why I chose this movie is because it is about, with Ed Norton playing this central character, it's about a person who struggles with something called dissociative identity disorder, or what we used to call multiple personality disorder. Every once in a while, the powers that be in the world of mental health like to do sort of branding updates in the way that we name and market, if you will, mental health challenges. It's hyper problematic. If you ever want to hear me say more about that, let me know in the comments. I'll make a separate video about that. I've talked about it elsewhere, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about the fact that because Ed Norton is an incredibly talented actor, he portrays a person who has dissociative identity disorder. In the movie, they call it multiple personality disorder because, fascinatingly enough, it came out like right around the time of the rebrand. But dissociative identity disorder is a trauma response, and it is worth noting, a trauma response that really has to occur in the very early years of life, almost always involving a trusted primary caregiver. If you have been following my channel for a while, or if you follow my work, you've heard me talk about this before. There are certain kinds of trauma that we just know for sure. If you think about traumatic responses, it's not a response to a trauma that occurred when a person was 17 or 20 or even 8 or 10 years old. There are certain trauma responses that have to do with traumas that occur when we could almost sort of say like the cake is still getting baked. They kind of have to happen in the first max 6 years of life, even more likely like 3 to 4 years of life. It is really an excellent depiction of what happens when a person suffers a trauma that is so severe that their personality splinters off. Effectively, you could sort of think of it as the memories are so traumatizing that they get splintered off into a completely different personality. The term that's often used is an alter, and the bare minimum that is required in order for this diagnosis to be met is 2. You just need to have sort of 2 separate personalities existing within one person, so that one is kind of the holder of the trauma and then the alter becomes this kind of protective other ego. But it is very much so real. And it is also worth noting that in terms of the word insane, many of us might think of it as being almost like a pejorative term, but the word insane is really a legal term, and it really means if a person committed a crime, if you want to try to kind of get them off not guilty by reason of insanity, the primary question involved is, was the person capable of understanding the nature of their crime at the time that they committed it? So what this movie explores pretty brilliantly is both dissociative identity disorder or multiple personality disorder and the role that that plays in whether a person could be potentially not culpable of a crime that they committed. It's really well done. Ed Norton's an incredible actor. Highly recommend it. And follow along if you want to see numbers 3, 2, and 1 in my bingeable movie series about psychology.